you brought up an interesting point earlier about if this should be kind of, low key jobs on the line for either side of this for coaches. I will say I think that probably is more of the case for Ryan Day. I think James Franklin is pretty secure in his job, but I will say this is Penn State's time to do it. Yeah. It really is, and I mean it comes down to this every year. I feel like they're undefeated or they're playing really well right up until they play Ohio State. And then they lose, and then they have like a 2-loss, like a 10-2 season, and it's a good season, but they can't get over the hump in Ohio State. Yeah. Yeah. So in that breath, I think this is Penn State's big opportunity to do it. On the other side, I think coming into this season, obviously Ohio State were favorites on paper, not only in the Big Ten but in a lot of college football to make the playoff, even to go to the national championship with the talent on that roster. A lot of returners on the defensive side of the ball dipped their toes into the transfer portal, grabbed a star running back and quarterback. And Ryan Day, I don't know what more you can give him at this point. At a certain point, you leave nothing left to blame but coaching. Mm-hmm. When you bring in guys like that and you give him all of the pieces. Obviously, it's not like they lost to Oregon in an embarrassing fashion. It came down to the final play of the game, and they were on the road. It's excusable. But if you go into this game and lose, it's going to be tough to answer for, I think.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, when you say it on paper, it's like, Ohio State, let's just say hypothetically, Ohio State lost 2 games this year to 2 top 5 opponents on the road. And you're like, oh, wow. Okay. I mean, that's not a bad season. However, I think in the minds of Ohio State fans, Ryan Day can't win the big one. And
absolutely,
if this trend continues, Ohio State fans want to win the big one. They're not 10-2 is not okay with them. Which no. By the way, 10-2 they could still make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They are right there, but still, I don't know if that'd be enough.
I don't know, man. It's just with all the talk about Ryan Day, and if looking at it from the reverse side, because obviously what happened a couple years ago in the Peach Bowl for Georgia, Ohio State misses the kick. You go on to play TCU and you kick the shit out of them. Yeah. I draw a very, very large parallel between that game and, as a Georgia fan, in 2012, the SEC championship against Alabama, and they went on to beat Notre Dame pretty handily. That's how I would feel about that game as an Ohio State fan. It's like, well, that was the national championship. We lost our opportunity. And if I'm them, I'm clamoring to get back. Yeah. And they have a lot of talent that returned, and subsequently, I believe, will be leaving on the defensive side of the ball and offensively. I don't think, guys like Will Howard, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson I think all of them are eligible, or most of them are eligible. So you're losing some pieces if you don't do it this year. So obviously, like you said, they will still be in probably a good spot to make the playoff at 10-2. It's still possible, but I just think with everything that's happened with Ryan Day, like you said, the stigma behind him is he can't win the big one. If he drops this, I'm not saying he's getting fired, but I think there will be a lot of conversations about it, potentially. I mean, the talking heads, I think. The media will pick up with it and continue to push the narrative that Ryan Day cannot win the big one.
Right. Yeah, like you said, hasn't been able to win the big one, but I don't know. He also has one of the best regular season coaching records over the past 5 years.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's not something you can really agree with. It's a fact, but I think that just kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about, yes, he has been impressive. It's just the bar has been set so high for Ohio State, and there's this whole stigma about being born on third and inheriting everything that he inherited. So yeah, what he's done has been impressive. However, he really has a lot of pressure on him to make the next big step.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I had on the
Yeah, that'll be
big
a
noon
fun one, and
kickoff.
is that in Happy Valley?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I will be in Jacksonville, so I'll hopefully have it on my phone or find a TV to watch that on. But
I'm sure
that'll
it'll
be
be on.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be on somewhere. I hate that it's on at noon, but that's kind of the Big Ten's MO
Yeah.
is big noon kickoff. So that's the big one for the week. I think